Welcome back, everybody. Todd Huey here with Lone Star Boris, Huey Outdoors. And today we're going to talk about the Pulsar Merger XP50 LRF and some about the Helion XP50 Pro. These are Pulsar's monocular and binocular. Technically, this is not a real binocular. We'll go over that in just a minute. But we'll talk about the features, pros, cons, different things like that. But before I get started on that, I want to talk about something else I just recently announced couple weeks ago on most of my social media. I started covering Texas sales tax. I'm a Texas-based company. Because they changed the internet sales tax laws a couple of years back, anything that I ship to with a Texas residence, I have to charge you 8.25% sales tax, which when you're talking about $3,000 to $10,000 even more dollar orders, that's a significant amount of change. And as much as you want to support this channel, when it comes down to it, I understand when you get it from somewhere else that's not charging you sales tax, it just makes sense. There are several companies in California and some on the East Coast that are supposed to be charging people sales tax, but they're not. And it puts me at a significant disadvantage. So a couple weeks ago, I started covering that Texas sales tax. I want to sell to Texans. I don't want the money going out of the state. But after thinking about it, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cover all sales tax. I have a program that I can't keep up with all. I don't want to get in trouble with the tax man myself, so I try to do things right. So I pay for a program that tells me exactly which states I have to pay sales tax in. It keeps track of all that. But now I've turned off all the sales tax. So no matter what state you're in, if I have to charge you sales tax, I will eat that sales tax. I want this to work, but there's not as much markup in these things as what you would think. There's a significant investment on my end. There's a lot of money that I have to put out to order these things with not that much profit margin. And then when you're talking about, like, just for Texas alone, 8.25% in taxes that I'm eating, the insurance for the shipping, the credit card fees, it doesn't leave much left over for me. And I have to pay the bills too. I mean, obviously it's got to be profitable. So to make this work, I'm going to have to increase volume. So share it with your friends. If you know people that are looking for thermal, have them buy from Huey Outdoors. It'll save them the sales tax. Again, it turns out to be a significant amount of money that you're going to save and support my business. So I will hopefully keep this going forever, and it'll work out and be successful. If not, eventually I'll announce and I'll have to turn on the sales tax again. But hopefully this will work out, and as for right now, there are no sales tax. So good announcement for all of y'all. Hurts me a little bit, but hell, it just pisses me off to lose the sales to people that are not even close to us. All right, now into the product. These are the Pulsar Merger XP50 LRFs. They're 640 resolution thermal. They call them binoculars. It's not a true binocular. This is your thermal camera on this side. This is a rangefinder on this side. So you only have one camera. It goes back and it distributes it to two screens. Well, let's just go over all the specs first. They're 2.5 native X at 640. Obviously, you have 2, 4, 8 digital magnification. Every time, with all thermals, every time you digitally magnify, you cut the resolution in half as you go up in magnification. The detection range on these, I think they say, is 1,800, around 1,800 yards. I know that I'm able to identify, as somebody that uses thermal all the time, I can pick out pigs and coyotes and stuff. Can I see their little tail with this unit? No, but 700, 800, even 900 yards away, I can tell by the way they move. For somebody that's never used thermal, I'd say realistically, 400 or 500 yards is where you're going to be able to kind of tell what stuff is until you start learning how things look in thermal and how they move. But they have a very clear image. They have the improved, it's now a real 50 millimeter. Before it was a 50 millimeter objective, but not, or focal length, but not a true 50 millimeter lens. This is now 50 millimeter focal length, 50 millimeter diameter. You have a focus ring up here for the lens, and then you have diopter focus for each eye so you can get everything perfect. The eyepieces slide back and forth, so if your eyes are closer or farther together, you can get the perfect setup on it. The battery life on these is super impressive. It's I've been getting 9 to 9.5 hours. It doesn't come with the APS-2, the smaller battery. It uses the APS-3, and then it has an internal battery. This battery is getting you about 5.5 hours, and then the internal battery is getting you around 4 hours. I'm not a big fan of internal batteries because eventually we all know they're going to go out. For who knows how long they're going to support it, but if the internal battery did go out for some reason, now it can be sent into Pulsar and they will switch it out. They can get in there and switch it. If for some reason 15-20 years down the road they're not supporting them anymore, even if this battery, you lose this battery and the internal battery goes out, no batteries at all, you can still hook a battery to the USB port and run these. So it's not like if you totally ever lost battery. It would be inconvenient because you have a wire hooked to it, but you're not going to have a paperweight because they actually have a USB port that you can run power to. So that's one thing. That's a long-term deal, but something that people probably would want to know about. I've taken this long, months to even talk about these. The unit that was before this was called the Accolade. I wasn't a fan. I didn't understand the concept. These are not cheap, $5,800. You can get a Thermion XP50 Pro with a laser rangefinder, a weapon sight, for $100 more. And to me, that's a weapon sight that I could always use as a spotter and have a rangefinder. But not everybody wants a weapon sight. Some people, one of the big reasons that I've talked to people and asked, customers that are buying these, what is it that you want about this? There are a lot of people that find these to be discreet. They look like standard binoculars. They don't draw attention, and that's been a big selling point. There is also a group of people that I've talked to that say that this causes them less eye strain because they're looking through both optics. For me, it's not an issue. When I look through it, I have no less eye strain whether I'm looking through this or looking through those. But everybody's brain is different. For example, on my helmet setup that I use, I wear a PBS-14, which standard night vision on one eye, and I wear a thermal on the other eye. When I do that, my dominant eye, which is my left eye, it's like a big screen TV with picture-in-picture. Whatever's on my dominant eye is the big screen, and whatever's on my non-dominant eye is the little picture-in-picture. Both images are clear, but they're not fused together. Another person could take my helmet and put it on, and the way their brain works, for them, very luckily, will fuse everything together, and it'll be a beautiful image, and it's awesome. Unfortunately, my brain doesn't work that way. And then there's other people that their brain, when they put it on, their eyes can't pick which one. It causes them a lot of strain, a lot of problems. They get headaches. They just can't use both at the same time. Now, while this is not two different things, same thing applies. There are people out there that get eye strain for whatever reason when they only use one eye, and this is something that can relieve that. So if that's you, then that is a good reason to get these binoculars. I personally prefer the Helion. It's smaller, $39.99, $4,000 versus $5,800. Doesn't have a rangefinder, but I have rangefinders in most of my weapon sights now. It's just there's no difference in image as far as these go. Same image, same screen, same lens, same sensor and everything in there. This one is just going to get you both eyes. They're both very tough. They're both waterproof. The rain's not going to do anything to them. They're very strong housings. I will say it is nice that this one comes with a neck strap. This comes with a little hand strap. I've taken it off. I don't use it. I actually have, I don't sell these, but it's called a Black Rapid. It was designed for SLR cameras. If you have the thread, which these have the tripod thread on the bottom, It just screws into the bottom here. And again, this is not something thermal specific. It was designed for cameras, but it comes in very useful. And the reason you want to strap on these, a neck strap or any kind of retention, is at nighttime, say you're sitting on a coyote stand or you're out hog hunting and here they come, you can just drop this and not worry about losing it in the dark or it hitting the ground. It's attached to you. So this should come with a strap, but it doesn't. The binoculars do. What else is there? Some of the between these two, I'm fairly mobile. I'm hunting out of a ATV, out of a truck. A lot of times I'm walking. This just makes more sense to me. It's smaller again, a little bit lighter. These are not too much heavier. These are about 10 ounces heavier, 9 to 10 ounces heavier than the single monocular. And the reason is because only one side's the camera. I mean, if you had two lenses, two full lenses, it would be significantly heavier. But really, this is just the rangefinder over here. So it's not adding too much weight. It is adding about, like I said, somewhere between 8 to 10 ounces, but not a whole lot of extra weight. A lot of these guys are using these too in the daytime to spot deer, elk, bear, glass the side of mountains, just to find the location. And that's been a very popular use for these things. And again, that's another reason I guess they buy the binocular looking units. It's doesn't draw as much attention as using something that looks like out of a space movie. So there you go. That's just a short overview of the products. They have a super clear image, actually a better image than the rifle scopes. And it always wondered when I first started using thermal, why does the monocular have a better image than the rifle scope? And it's because they can use a better lens. With your rifle scope, you need eye relief so you don't get scoped. With these, you can put your eyes right up to them so they can use a better screen in there, and you get a slightly better image over the same, like say an XP50 Thermion. It's not huge, but it is noticeable difference in image. These have all the same features. This one does have the rangefinder, but video, pictures, audio, the Wi-Fi streaming app, all the standard picture-in-picture, all the standard Pulsar stuff. So there it is in a nutshell. Again, I prefer the monocular, but if you're in a static position or for the reasons we listed, these have definitely been very popular units, and people seem to enjoy them. Thank you for watching. Remember, no sales tax, and as always, comment below and subscribe to the channel.